Before we begin, I invite you to step away, not just from screens and signals, but from the very concept of illumination. Step out into a rain-soaked veranda. The storm drapes the world in mist. A woman named Sadhana watches the downpour, her thoughts wandering. Her farm sleeps, the corpse still, the chickens silent, her dogs curled by her side. But her memory is awake. She recalls a crystal cave once she visited. Not for the crystals, though they shimmered like frozen lightning, but for what lived within. Insects without pigments, mushrooms that pulsed faintly, creatures that had never seen light. A sealed ecosystem. Life adapted not to the sun, but to the stone. In the quiet rhythm of the rain, Sadhana begins to ask a question. What if the sun isn't necessary? What if light isn't the spark we always believed it to be? What if the darkness is not an absence, but a womb? Welcome back, traveler. My name is Aytaç Ertekin, and this is SITU, Silence in the Universe. Together, we listen to the silence and search for the stories it hides. In our last journey, we questioned the structure of reality itself. Today, we ask something subtler, not about simulation or system, but about survival. This is the story of life that emerges in isolation, life that evolves without light, life on planets without stars. This is episode 11, Alone in the Dark. Sadhana sits quietly on her veranda. The monsoon has folded the world into itself, a soft, endless percussion on tin and leaf. Her animals, like thoughts, have retreated into stillness. She remembered the cave, not for its crystals, though they hung like frozen thunder, but for the life that moved beneath them. Insects without pigment, mushrooms glowing with borrowed breath, pale creatures that drifted through the stone like ghosts of biology. This was not a place visited by light, not even the memory of it, and yet it pulsed with life. On her farm everything bows to the sun, the crops, the chickens, even her own bones. Vitamin D, circadian rhythm, morning and night. But in that cave, life had written a different story. No dawn, no shadows, only the minimal breath of rock and the long persistence of chemistry. And so a question unfurls. Can life truly thrive in complete darkness? Not just survive, but evolve, adapt, diversify. That question whispered beneath monsoon rain guided our journey today. Because Sadhana's cave is not unique. Caves life like it exists across Earth, sealed, starless, ancient. And they offer clues, blueprints even, for what life might look like elsewhere. Far elsewhere. On planets that orbit no sun, on worlds with no sky, in the great silence beyond starlight. We live in light, we rise with it, sleep by it, worship it. From the sun that powers our days, to the stars that map our myths, we have always equated illumination with existence. Our biology stepped into light dependency. Photosynthesis, vision, circadian rhythms, vitamin synthesis. Even our language treats light as metaphor for truth. But that relationship is not that ancient as it seems. For most of Earth's history, the surface was not so welcoming. Life may not have begun in light, but in pressure, heat, and chemical tension. The deep sea tells a different story. Far beneath the waves, hydrothermal vents pulse with minerals rich heat. No sunlight penetrates here. Instead, life blooms from below. Microbes feeding on sulfur and metal. Tube worms with blood-red plumes. Creatures glowing with their own bioluminescence. This is chemosynthesis, energy born from stone, not starlight. And it's not rare. We've found entire ecosystems sealed off from the skies. Movile Cave in Romania, isolated for over 5 million years. Lakes buried beneath Antarctica's ice sheet. Ocean trenches where pressure is so intense it bends physics. In every case, we find life, not thriving despite the darkness, but because of it. It adapts, reconfigures, evolves new tools. Photons are not a requirement, they are a preference, one solution among many. And so, Earth whispers a secret. Light may be how we begin seeing, but not how life began being. In the dark places of this world, we glimpse blueprints for others, worlds beyond our sun, worlds that never knew morning, worlds where life still steers, patient, blind, and unstoppable. Some planets are never given sunrise. They are born into gravitational chaos, ejected from their solar systems, or perhaps formed in isolation, their stars stillborn. We call them rock planets, worlds without a sun, orphans drifts in interstellar dark. They follow no orbit, cast no shadow, give off no light, invisible to most of our instruments, except through gravitational clues or the faintest infrared breath. We used to think they were rare. Now we estimate there may be billions in our galaxy alone, silent travelers between constellations. But are they truly lifeless? That depends on what we mean by life and by light. Despite their frozen exteriors, rock planets hold hidden warmth, residual heat from planetary formation, energy locked in by the violence of birth, radioactive decay deep in their cores, transforming heavy elements into heat over time. Tidal friction, perhaps, if they carry moons, heating the insides like Earth's own ocean tides stirred by the pull of the moon. Beneath thick mantles of ice, kilometers deep, these planets may conceal subsurface oceans, dark seas, sealed from the void, heated from below, stirred by planetary breath. And in those oceans, chemical gardens may bloom, just like in Earth's deepest hydrothermal vents. Could life begin there? Certainly. Could it become complex? Why not? On Earth, evolution was sculptured by not light alone, but by scarcity, pressure, competition, and cooperation. These forces don't need sunshine. They need time, energy, and possibility. A rock planet might host ecosystems built on chemosynthesis instead of photosynthesis, predators that navigate by sound and vibration, creatures that sense electric fields, not color, civilizations that never lifted their gaze upward because they never evolved the concept of the sky. They would live entirely inwards, mapping not stars but thermal gradients, measuring not distance but depth. Their myths carved in not into stone monuments but into the stone itself. They would not ask, "Are we alone in the universe?" They might ask instead, "What stirs beneath? What dreams in the layers below?" And perhaps this is why we have not heard from them, not because they lack thought or tools, but because their cosmos is internal. Imagine, 1,000,000 years from now, one of our old machines still drifts through space. It was built for stars, solar panels, telemetry, a hunger for sunlight. But now it floats, cold and blind, beyond the reach of any sun, until its sensors flicker. A brief warmth, a chemical anomaly, patterns too strange to be a chance. The probe adjusts. What it sees is not land, not sky, but ice, miles thick, enclosing a rogue planet. from beneath pulses of infrared. Organic compounds rising with slow breath of thermal vents. Not death, but life. A world without night or day. An ocean without surface. And somewhere in that abyss, a creature moves. Then another and another. Not mindless, not primitive, but intelligent in a way we might barely recognize. A civilization that never discovered fire because they never needed to burn. They found heat in stone, built symphonies from sonar, studied chemistry the way we study light. They never asked, are we alone in the universe? Because the universe had no stars. They asked instead, what stirs in the warmth below? What sinks through the strata? Their philosophers mapped pressure gradients. Their engineers carved habitats into tectonic layers. Their myths revered the core, a radiant heart beneath all silence. They never pointed upward because upward had no meaning. And so they never transmitted, never broadcast, never imagined they might be seen. From our vantage point, they were silent. But that silence was not emptiness. It was in solution, a cocoon of dark and depth. The kind of warps itself in when it knows no other way. We scan for the electromagnetic radio waves, megastructures, atmospheric signatures. But we rarely scan the silence between. Yet maybe galaxy is not quiet, maybe it's brimming, not with civilizations shouting into the void, but murmuring inward, through layers of stone and steam. Life folded deep within itself, lonely only in our eyes. And if that's true, if intelligence below on worlds we cannot detect, if existence does not require illumination, then we are not alone. We are just not listening in the right direction. Back on her veranda, Sadhana peels a tangerine. The storm has passed. A firefly winks nearby, pulsing once, twice. Its brief light offers no warmth, only presence. And she wonders, can life exist without light? Across Earth, we've seen the answer hidden in the caves, sealed lakes, the silent trenches. But perhaps more profoundly, it waits in places far beyond our reach, in the drifting solitude of rock planets, where warmth rises from within and evolution never looks up. These words may hold not just life, but civilizations, not primitive, not lost, simply turn inward. Their myths, their sighs, their silence, shaped by stone and sea. And if we've never heard from them, it's not because they are absent. It's because their universe was never built for signaling outwards, only surviving within. Maybe that's the answer the silence has been trying to give us. That life isn't rare in spite of the dark. It may emerge because of it. But what if even it's too hopeful? What if life, the kind that breathes, that thinks, that asks questions in the rain, is not just unusual, but a cosmic accident? In our next journey, we will travel backwards, not across distance, but across time, to a place before life, to the primordial chemistry, to the moment the first cell divided. We'll ask a haunting question. Does life emerge easily? Or is it a miracle so rare it may never happen again? This is iTouch, this is SITU, and together we listen to the silence of the universe.